And now, straight from the Law-Abiding Biker Media Studio,
out of sunny Yakima, Washington,
we bring you another episode of the
#1 listen to motorcycle podcast.
We're in your head.
We're in your head.
We're in your head.
We're in your head.
Lurch.
Old school. Haven't heard that one in a while. I like it.
Yeah, buddy. So I didn't want to. Well, I do. We need to talk about something publicly.
Oh, God.
What?
What have you been paying attention to today or yesterday or whatever?
No, this is a serious conversation.
Is it?
Like all our conversations.
As soon as you say that, it knows you're full of shit.
I just want to say, people change throughout their life, and
Some people.
you've changed.
I've gotten older. Wiser.
Well, not in this instance.
Okay.
So
According to you.
I just want to say that you made me feel very uncomfortable. Okay. You can scoff and try to laugh this off. This is
I don't know. Well, first of all, I know it's bullshit because
whatever. You're
get
already defending
uncomfortable.
yourself. You don't even want to say.
I don't know what
That's
it
not
is,
even,
but I just know you're full of shit because you don't get uncomfortable.
You can't do that.
You're the one that makes others uncomfortable.
No. So I'm just telling you, as a friend, we need to have an open line of communications. And the other day, and it's okay, these things, apparently, these days, but I had to ride 2 up with you on your motorcycle.
We didn't have to. I gave you the option of
we did.
taking your truck or riding, and you said, "I'll ride."
But now I know why you accepted so readily.
Okay.
This is what made me feel uncomfortable. We're getting down to the root of this now. And that is, we're riding together. You constantly were backing your ass up into me. Dude, you were backing into the tip.
I was sitting forward on the seat.
No, you
and
were
leaning
not,
forward.
dude. You were not. And it made me feel really uncomfortable, especially about the 10th time you did it, dude.
You're the one that dry humped me. Do you forget that?
And I just want to say, you're a slut.
Whatever.
Oh,
I was purposely trying to stay away, and you dry humped me at one point.
you need to find yourself a church and repent, son.
Whatever. I should have had my backrest on so you couldn't get close to me.
Oh God, dude. If you guys haven't seen we put a lot of little stuff on Instagram reels and posts, and anyways, we're not afraid to ride 2 up, and it was actually kind of funny. But we had to do some transportation and get me to one place to the other, and it seemed to be the best mode of transportation. And Lurch is apparently unafraid. So I just wanted to publicly say you're a slut.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we've got an episode here for you guys, but you know what? Let's do this.
I got mail. Yay! I got mail.
We'll start it out with this, Lurch. So what do we got here? You threw in here an email. So navigation issue on a boombox from one Robert Scott of Bordentown, New Jersey. He writes, I have a 2017 HD Street Glide Special. It is the Boombox 6.5 GT. When I use the navigation and view the map, the current location icon appears to be about 31 miles east-northeast of my actual location. I have updated the software and had no effect. I also removed the 50 amp main fuse for about 10 minutes, and after reinstalling the fuse, the same problem exists. The issue came up a couple of weeks ago, so I just used my iPhone for navigation. The next time I tried the Boombox GPS, it was working properly. Then yesterday, when using the GPS, I see the problem is back. I have not taken it to the dealer because they will just tell me to replace the boombox. Here are the approximate coordinates of my location he gives them, and where the GPS icon is located on the map, another coordinate. It seems to be off about 31 miles to the east-northeast. Any thoughts on how to fix this or other troubleshooting procedures? Question mark. apparently I responded at some point.
Yeah.
And this is my response in here. Thanks so very much for the donation. Oh, yeah, that's nice. He left a donation. Whenever you guys ask a question at lawabidingbiker.com/contact, you do have the option to leave a donation. Not only helps us, but definitely bumps you up in the queue because we just get a ton of emails and we can't answer them all. But definitely that will get it answered. We really appreciate it. Just trying to help as many bikers as we can worldwide. There are tons of issues with the boombox I write, system navigation, and always has been. It has many bugs. Unfortunately, if that is all you're experiencing right now, well, feel lucky. I know that's sad. I always have to run a redundant navigation app to foolproof my travels. The boombox navigation is often correct, and other times it's not and has all kinds of quirky issues or tries to steer me in the wrong direction. Nothing has changed over the years, and it never will. When I don't completely trust the boombox during travels, I refer to my side navigation app and vice versa. I cross-check each of them. I'm so sorry, but I know of no fix for your issue. That's something deep within the inner workings of the systems, something between many different softwares trying to all talk to each other. I won't ramble any longer, but I continue to have many issues with the boombox navigation. It seems to never get fixed. Sorry I could not fix this issue for you. Follow-up. This is from Robert. He says, thanks, Ryan. Oh, you're welcome, Robert. He writes, in my anal retentive approach to troubleshooting, I decided to open the fairing, used your video, and take out the head unit for inspection. Once open, I see that there was a lot of dirt and dust that's built up over the years, so I decided to try and clean everything up. I removed all the connectors from the boom and inspected them. They looked reasonably clean, more so that the rest of the underside. I blew out all the connectors and reassembled, making sure they were all snug fitting. Once all was back together, I tried the boombox nav, and lo and behold, it's working properly. I'm guessing the nav antenna was not making a good connection, but because the issue was so solid in its failing and my knowledge of radio reception. I would not expect a loose or intermittent antenna would display such a uniform failure. Always 30 miles off, he says. Get out of there. Get this out of here. Oh, there. You learn something every day, he says. Thanks for your response, and you're welcome for the donation. Now get out there and ride, you bikeaholic. Very nice and very good information. I agree. Probably wasn't the antenna, probably more of a software type issue. And who knows? Who knows when it comes to these type of things? We've talked about in the past. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I've experienced the same thing where it shows me riding through the middle of a field or something several miles off the side of the highway or near the highway. And unfortunately, I've just moved to either the Harley Ride Planner app on my phone or another, system.
Yeah, redundancy is the thing.
It's just the boombox, the GT and the GTS. The GPS just isn't great on them.
And the Indian Ride Command is the same. It's horrible. I did a review on that, so it's no better. These systems, no matter what you do, that's all I say, and we'll move on. But redundancy, even when I ride, adventure, I have my iPhone apps like, Onyx or there's a bunch of other apps that we've used over the years, and plus an actual Garmin. And the redundancy, one fails or one doesn't work, or you can cross-check them. That's just good thing to do. So if you get in a pickle, you have a backup system that you can look at and verify. So I've done that for years. The new 24 Harley with that new infotainment control unit, we took it on the trip around the East Coast, and it was spot on. So I never had to even look at my I had it running because that was my first trip with that system, but it was spot on, nailed it. So, but you do pay for that. And that's the thing about the old boombox. You didn't pay for that, and you don't, with actual fee for the 3 years I bought so I could test it, they're going to dump more money and keep it refined more. And so it's working very well up to this point. So I'm very pleased with that. But yeah, all you old boombox owners, I used to be one up until earlier this year. It is what it is. Thanks for the email. We appreciate it. You can leave a voicemail or email over at lawabidingbiker.com/contact. We'd love to hear from you. You want to ride longer? Are you tired of a sore and achy ass? Then I say fix it with a high-quality butt buffer seat cushion. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store and check out our full line of butt buffer seat cushions. We got a whole bunch in stock. We got a box sitting right here with us today. A shipment to refresh our store stock. Appreciate you guys buying those and shopping in the store. They sell themselves at this point. Lurch has some store items he wants to promote. So I'll give it to you.
Yeah, just a reminder that we have the all-new, brand-new Denali Destroyer headlights for the Road Glide and Street Glide. We have some of the first ones that came out, and so if you're trying to find them and can't find them anywhere, we've got a few. So check it on out at the store, lawabidingbiker.com/store. Yeah, they are insanely bright headlights, especially on the Road Glide because you got a pair of them. The low beam's great. It's very bright, but man, when you kick on that high beam, it's insane how bright that thing is.
We don't have them for the Street Glide yet, do we?
We do. We have a couple of them for Street Glides still.
Oh, nice,
Yep.
nice. Okay.
Yep.
Do we have a list? Obviously.
Yep, it's in the store listing.
And if you go to that listing, the video should be at the bottom. So I'd recommend heading over to the store. You got to check out this Denali Destroyer, better than other stuff on the market. I can attest to that. And the price point's right too. Better price, and it's more solid. And Lurch has given me the thumbs up that
The video
on
is there.
both listings, the video is there. It's probably a variant, right? Is it two listings or is it a variant?
They're two listings.
So go, Denali Destroyer for Road Glide or Denali Destroyer for Street Glide. And the video's at the bottom, full detailed install and review. And we show you the light and we show you why it's better in many ways than the competition out there. You gotta take a look at that thing. All right.
We also have the adapters if you need them, depending on what bike you have. If you've got a single halogen H4, you'll need the adapter. We've got those. We also have the yellow diffusers. You'll have to check your state and local laws to see whether
It's in the video. We'll show you what those are about.
Legal or illegal in your state. But yep, got it all over there. So I just want to remind people because they're kind of hard to find right now. We've got just a few left.
And when those sell, we don't know when we're getting more, right?
Right.
So we're hoping soon.
We'll put our order in, but we got to wait just like everybody else.
Yep. It's a new product, so stock is slim. So get over to the Law Abiding Biker store. And we had some people get on the list, right, to get those when we put that video
got
up.
them. Yeah,
made a list.
I emailed them, let them know.
Nice. What else we got?
We got the Kiriakin shift linkages in chrome back in stock. Those were hard to find for quite a long time. We had black, we had a black and chrome combo, but now we have the chrome ones back. And there's a decent stock of those, but they go quick. So if you've been thinking about getting one, please do. They've got the upgraded Heim joints on it, so you don't have Heim joints. Let me say that properly. They don't have the just pressed.
You say Hyman joint?
Hyman joint, yeah. You lost your Hyman joint a long time ago.
You tried to make me lose it when you were backing your ass into me.
But the chrome's been hard to find, and we've got them again. So grab those. And then soft brake, extended brake pedals. We've got Kiriakin. We also have soft brake now.
America.
Made in America. They're made in Idaho, just right down the road from us here. The gentleman, Rick, over there makes them. Then he has powder coated in Idaho, and he has them chromed in California. So it's all done in the U.S. He's going to be a little bit better on stock, and so the Kiriakin will have them as they come and go. But you know, our distributor who owns Kiriakin will release a bunch of them. We grab them up, and then they're out again for several months. I wish they had a better supply of them, but it seems like the soft brake will be something we'll be able to get our hands on much more frequently. And good product, very similar. It's just made in the U.S. So if made in the U.S. and supporting a U.S. business is important to you, it's a great product. He's a very knowledgeable guy, and it's been nice to get to know them. So highly recommend those soft brake extended brake pedals.
And so what did I do? Off with the Kiriakin.
That's right.
Right on with the soft brake on my 24. And great. Just supporting American workers, American company, which, we are too. And that's super important to us. So anytime we can find that, of course, we're going to try to bring those on. And we want to be able to maintain stock for you guys. And so we were really excited to find that company. Now, we shot the vid, and we actually have an easier way to put these extended brake pedals on. And the vid is literally sitting. I've been asking Lurch for like 3 weeks now. When can I release it? When can I release it? Because we're going to show you the soft brake and what it's all about. This extended brake pedal plus the new faster install. We shot it all, but Lurch is waiting before I drop the YouTube video. We're announcing it on the podcast, so get over there. And we do have soft brake in stock right now, especially the chrome ones. But the chrome are limited right now. We're waiting on that, right?
Yeah, before we do our big video release, we're waiting on a little bit more stock of the chrome plain. So meaning the solid chrome one looks like what you have.
The most popular model.
The most popular one, yeah. It's a +1. So it's extended forward 1 inch.
Same as it's basically a direct replacement for the Karaoke. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. So so if you're a podcast listener, you just heard they're in stock for right now. You could buy them off the shelf, but the thing is, when we drop a YouTube video, that reaches a larger audience, not as, for the most part, as what do I want to say, engaged audience, but a larger audience, and so we will sell them fast, like we did, sold out at Karaoke, and so we got to make sure we have stock. But if you want to scoop them up before the video release, now's the time.
And based on when this will be released, it should be pretty close to that as well.
When the podcast is released, gotcha.
Hopefully the stock will be.
Unless you're a member, you're going to get this. If you're a Patreon member, you're going to get this uploaded to the back end of your account. You're going to be listening to this within 1 or 2 days of the time of recording, unlike everybody else, which will be a month up to 2 months later. So, if you're a patron member, you get first dibs on a lot of stuff like that. One of the many benefits for being a patron member. Hey, Bikeaholics. Zero 3D has a wide variety of innovative products for your Harley Davidson and a brand new line for the all-new Honda Golden Wing, named Gold Strike. Top quality, affordable chrome lighting cover products. They are the motorcycle LED lighting innovators for CAN bus plug-and-play system compatibility. Of course, we're carrying Zero 3D products right over in the Law Abiding Biker store. Sell the heck out of them now. If you're following us on Instagram at Law Abiding Biker or TikTok or Facebook, it's all the same, Law Abiding Biker. We put out some short stuff, and in fact, just a few days ago, we shot a whole new line of Zero products, which we can't actually tell you what they are quite yet, but let's just say it's an accessory type package for sprucing up your bike with some really solid components. They are amazing. We put them all on Lurch's 15 Road Glide, but they're good for 24 and previous, so it doesn't matter what year you have. Great package, great looking product. We've got the video shot. As soon as those become available, we'll be dropping that video, and we'll be bringing another line of Zero 3D products to the store. So pretty excited about that. But again, because they're not in stock, we can't really display all of them yet. But we did announce that, again, over on the social media channels. There we go. Welcome back, you freaking bikeaholics. This is the podcast for the motorcycle majority, the Big MM, also known as the
99%.
That's right. Large, in charge of the motorcycle scene. That's right. By being here, by listening, you're part of this thing we call the hashtag
Biker Revolution.
We have just one question. What are you waiting for, Bikeaholics?
Mount up and let us take you on another wild-ass ride.
Ryan Urlacher here, your host of the Law Abiding Biker podcast, and your
high-tech redneck.
Main topic today is going to be all about Indian's recent release and of the Scout series of their bikes, the most popular selling bike that Indian has for year 2025. They're the 2025 models, but they are out now. We're going to break those down, and we will do some light comparison between Harley and Indian, just for some sort of reference and foundation, but mostly by far, it's just going to be, talking about what are these models that they're releasing, how do they differ, what they're all about, what you can expect. We'll dive into some pricing and things like that. So it's going to be a fun conversation, and I know very little, just briefed myself, but Lurch knows a lot more because he did the show notes and did the research, so I can rely on him for a bunch of questions. Now, we just want to mention Lurch wants to tell you about a new free video that's been on the YouTube channel for some time.
This is the Harley Tail Light Transformation. Zero Armor LED Programmable Light Review and Install. The link is in the show notes. It is a badass light. You've got one, I think, on your police bike, don't you?
Well, that's what we shot it on,
That's right, yeah.
We shot the film and the video.
It takes your, and I put one on Darren's Sportster. So it's, if you've got the old school, if you will, tail light, like on the Electras and the Sportsters and some of that, it adds so much light to the back of your bike. It's got the startup features. It's got the brake
via
features.
the app, the smartphone app. It's Light
the
Strike.
Light Strike
Yeah.
app. So when you hit the brakes, it'll do certain patterns. If you hold your brake pedal down, it'll do a pattern. You can adjust the brightness on it. It just helps get people, the cagers behind you, get their attention. It's an outstanding light, and it's an easy install. It's 2 screws and you plug it in. It's one of the simplest things you can do for your bike to make yourself safe and look good at the same time.
Yep. And as usual, over in the Law Abiding Biker store, when there's a video, you just go to the product, Zero Armor Light in this case, and you'll have the full install and review video right there in the listing for you. So you can install it yourself and get a taste of what it's all about before you buy it. But I did put it on our police bikes because we do want that extra pattern of light. I just set it for kind of a simpler one for 3 bumps when we hit the brakes, just again to get the attention of those cagers. We're out all day, every day on our police bikes, so the more visibility as far as that goes that we can get, the better. And I'm very pleased with that product. Now, we appreciate our already mentioned sponsors, but these folks are also a direct reason that we are coming to you after 11 years. I want to thank the following new patrons.
We'd like to thank Charles Wade of Havana, Florida. He's a top-tier member. Jack Bauer of Marana, Arizona. And Alla Harald Bergard, how do you say that? Bergander of Risgard, Sweden. Sorry for destroying your last name.
Shout out Sweden. Very cool. Very cool. Now, with that said, we are going to make an announcement. We've made it a few times, but it's very important if you're a current patron member or you're going to sign up as a patron member. Things just got a whole lot easier and a whole lot clearer. So here we go. I just wanted to quickly tell you all about some changes for our current and future patron members of Law Abiding Biker Media. We want to let you know about a change we are making that will help us deliver a better membership experience going forward. Of course, just so you all know, you sign up as a patron member, there's a plethora of benefits depending on what tier you sign up and all that. So, however, we are switching from per piece of content to monthly subscription billing on Patreon effective October of 2024. Sometime in October, this is going to roll out. This means from now on, every month, you will have a consistent price for all the benefits we provide, and it won't fluctuate based on the number of content pieces per month that we release. All right, so don't stress out. There isn't really anything you need to do as a current member, but we just wanted to keep you informed and be fully transparent. We decided to make this change both for consistency it provides and to members and us, and the flexibility to consider other benefits we can provide that aren't tied to the number of paid posts we make. Your membership will be converted from a per creation or per piece of content charge amount to an easier monthly subscription amount. Understand, we've never raised fees in over 10 years to our patron members, but we've added a lot of benefits. Now, during this transition, we are slightly raising membership fees for the first time for all new memberships as operation costs have increased over time. Here are the changes to membership fees. Our base tier for base
Support.
Or base reward. What am I saying? Benefits. So base tier from $1, that's just basic support. It's going from $1 to $5 per month. Mid tier for your mid tier level benefits from $12 to $15 per month. And for top tier for all the benefits is from $20 to $25 per month. So base tier, $5 per month, mid tier, $15 per month, top tier, $25 per month. The only change existing members will see during this transition is that they'll only be charged once a month instead of per piece of content that we release. No more monthly caps, none of that. It's one fee, one bill each month. Understand that if you choose to sign up exclusively within the iOS app, that's Apple, on your iPhone, you'll pay an additional fee to Apple for using their sign-up services and within their ecosystem. Now, even if you have an iPhone, you can still choose to sign up outside of Apple iOS ecosystem using the Patreon website directly to sign up, and then you can just get the Patreon app, like always, on your iPhone without the additional Apple fees. You would just sign into the app from that point and you'd have access. You'll be paying Patreon and us directly that way instead of using Apple and paying their additional fees. And that's no different. You all know Apple does that with like Netflix. A lot of apps you can sign up through your iPhone directly on it. But again, Apple's taking their cut of that. So I always sign up mostly outside of that. And then I just log into my app on my iPhone. Anyways, existing members will be happy to know that when we transition, you are grandfathered in at your current pledge level, as long as you continue to use your current payment method. Once the transition happens, you can make membership changes in your Patreon account like always. We do really thank you for your understanding as we make this transition to a standard monthly subscription fee, which is an easier and more understandable model. We wanted to inform all of our members now, so everyone is fully informed before this takes effect in October 2024. Please reach out if you have any questions. We're looking forward to this next phase of building our community together on Patreon, and it continues to grow, and we're so thankful. It's been our foundation for a long time. And if you're not yet a patron member, you are really missing out. It's the fastest growing biker community around, and there are a plethora of benefits for becoming a member. You can learn more by heading over to lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon. There we go. All right, main topic, guys. We're going to dive right in here, and we are going to start discussing these bikes. You want to start here, Lurch?
Yeah, this seems to be the big new thing for Indian is the Scout lineup. I didn't see a whole lot of change in anything else, and it somewhat makes sense to me because last year when we looked at what they were rolling out, one of the things that they said in their announcement video, if you will, was that their claim was, well, two things. The Scout is their best-selling lineup. That's not a claim. That's a fact for them. But they also claim to be the market leaders in that category, that category that the Scout fits into, the cruiser, if you will, or smaller, kind of a smaller bike.
I guess, yeah.
So that's their claim, and
it's an interesting claim.
It is
because it's kind of broad.
It is.
You can make that claim, but like, who are you directly competing against? Because nobody else is really making an exact direct comparison to that, unless you're going to look at Honda, or I don't even know if they are, or something like that.
I think obviously their big competitor is Harley Davidson. They're the two American bikes that go back and forth, and we'll talk a little bit of comparison as we go through this, but. There isn't for the Scout. I don't know that there's a real great comparison. When Harley had I would say that the Scout's probably the intermediate or the beginner line for a new rider for if they were going into Indians. Generally speaking, most people start with a smaller bike and work their way up. Not everybody.
They're going to get into a V-twin type. Yeah.
So if you look at Harley, you're probably looking at Sportsters or Softails, and that. Harley really redesigned the Sportster lineup, and it's not what it used to be. It's not the classic looking Sportster that it was. And so it's hard to compare the two, but I see why Indians pushing the Scout line. It's popular for them. They're revamping it in a way that it still looks kind of true to the Indian Scout, but it also has a lot more modern stuff because they're trying to get younger, newer riders into the Indian ecosystem, if you will, and maybe they hope that in the future they'll move up to a bigger bike. So it makes sense that that's what they're
sounds like Harley's doing. Yeah,
exactly. Right. You gotta we're all getting older, and eventually we're gonna, one day we're gonna not be here anymore. So
hopefully you repent for your sluttiness before that.
I don't know if I will. I think I feel very okay with that.
Slut. Go ahead, slut. I'm just going to call you a slut the rest of the episode because it's funny.
Anyway, so it makes sense that they're focusing on it. And at first look, and we'll get into a little bit more of the looks, the Scout 101 is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So they've got 5 models of the Scout lineup for 2025. They're going to start out with the stripped down and slammed Scout Bobber at $12,999. Then next will be the chromed out Scout Classic. And we'll pull these up and look at the pictures and talk about them as we go through them, but just kind of quickly naming them. That one starts at $13,999. That's your chromed out, more of a classic looking bike. Then they got the Sport Scout, which is similar to what was once called the Scout Rogue, starting at $13,499. That's the club styled bike. So it has some of those Sons of Anarchy type looks to it, with the bars and the little fairing.
The Scout
Sport. Yeah,
okay, gotcha.
Sport Scout. Which we talked about earlier. It feels like that's kind of backwards to us. If I was naming it, I'd call it the Scout Sport, not the Sport Scout.
Right.
It seems like they kind of got the names backwards, but whatever. Then they got the light touring bike called the Super Scout at $16,499. That's got some bags.
Light touring, I
light
guess.
Touring.
Okay, all right. Throw some bags on it.
Yeah.
If you throw bags on it, it's light touring.
Yeah, you can tour it. You want to just put a couple.
Harley
bags
does
on
the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a light touring, but yeah, you're right. Yeah, saddlebags. Okay, cool.
And then they got the highest, what they're calling the highest performing Scout of all time, the 101 Scout.
Again, instead of the Scout 101, I keep wanting to call it. Why did we do that?
I don't know. That's just how they do it. They also everything else, and they call everything plus too. That's their big word,
right?
Plus Scout plus, Reichman plus.
It's the Pro
Speed plus. And that one comes in at $16,999. So it's kind of a jump there. There is what they're saying is the price gap is easily explained by the tech packages, but in short, the 101 and the supermodels only come with all the tech, while the other option trims and vary. So the
101 and the supermodels. What's the supermodel?
It's the Super Scout, the light touring. So the light touring, the Super Scout, and the 101 Scout they come with all the bells and whistles. So there's a jump there. That's why you're seeing the jump from basically 13 to 14 and then jumping up to 16 and a half.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, makes sense. Thank you.
So you can get, and we'll talk about it, but you can add some of this stuff onto the other models, but it'll increase the price on them. But this is just the base prices. And what's big for the Scout this year is the 2025 Indian Scout is built around an all-new 1250cc Speed Plus engine.
Not just Speed Plus.
Yeah, it's plus. You don't want just speed. You need plus speed.
No. You're a slut plus.
You're a dick. The Speed Plus gets its name from the Power Plus engine and what's shared between the two units, which essentially means it's built off of the Power Plus platform.
Which, if you guys, just to put that into perspective, so we've had the Indian Pursuit for over a year now that they give me a year ago to review, and we've been in talks with them, but it had the liquid cooled power plus motor. And so,
as does the Challenger,
right. As does the Challenger. And so it looks like, from what I can tell so far, we're going to dive into some pictures here in a minute, but it looks almost the same. But they're all coming with this new power or Speed Plus, right? Yeah.
All of them are. And the one exception, and it's not really exception per se, but the 101 comes with a different tune, so they're squeezing a little bit more horsepower out of that one. So
I wonder if you'll be able to get that tune. I don't know if your research went that deep. Like if you could buy one of the other models, since it's the same motor, and then say, I want the 101 tune on my, let's say, light touring.
I didn't see that in my research, but
probably not, because they don't want to cannibalize the line.
True.
By saying, you can get the same power, just get the Scout. But I don't know. They
got different looks. The bikes have different looks to them. So maybe, if you can't do it now, somebody will come out with something later down the road, an aftermarket company.
You would think. Although they're getting harder and harder to crack.
They are.
They still haven't cracked the ECM on my 24. So Vance and Hines hasn't cracked it. Nobody's cracked it. So
it can take a while.
Yeah.
So the four bikes, with the exception of the 101, have claimed 105 horsepower and 82 feet of torque. Now the 101 gets an extra 6 horsepower, so it's up to 11.
111.
And I think I had the
82.
80. Is it still
from
82
my memory?
Torque?
That's what they said on the 101.
Yeah. So the 101 82. Okay. So it doesn't look like the torque necessarily changes, but the horsepower does. Okay. Interesting.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Let's see. Where was I at? Okay. So and here's what they're saying about the torque curve on it. And if you go on their website and look at the website, they actually show you a dyno graph of it. Mm-hmm. And they call it a long flat torque curve. And that is true. It looks like it just pulls really well. And
all the way through. So you're not going to be inconsistent.
Yeah.
Guessing where the power is going to kick on.
Yeah, what they say here is the torque curve is long and flat, starting around 3,000 and continuing past peak horsepower at 7,250, tapering off as it reaches the rev limit at 8,500 RPM.
Revvy little motor, just like the
Rev
Pursuit.
Max?
Yep, and the Pursuit.
Okay.
Yeah, just revvy motors. Yeah.
Yeah, what they say is over previous models, average fuel mileage is improved for an additional claim 20 miles per tank, largely thanks to the one-tooth larger drive sprocket.
They're getting 20 more miles per tank?
Per tank, which is, what, 3.5 gallons or something like that?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
So let's just go through the models here. If you've got, you can click that one and bring it open.
We're going to start with the bobber, the Scout bobber, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So while you're pulling that up, we can kind of go through it together. I'll say that this is the only one that has the shorter rear shocks. It's got 2 inches of travel instead of 3 inches of travel. So it's a little squattier in the back. Gives it a little lower look. And it does have, as the name would
a little
suggest,
worse ride.
Bobbed fender. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's a good looking bike.
It is.
It's got some, low handlebars on it. The mirrors are tucked down below to give it kind of looks like a cafe type racer to me.
Yeah, a little bit. Kind of. It's got the big headlight bezel nacelle.
Yeah.
Right.
I think either one of those is correct.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. It's got the chopped rear fender. Very much. Yeah, the Harley Lowrider S is a little bit longer fender. I just wanted to see it in comparison. It's definitely chopped short. Do you know, it seems that these are great bikes, guys, so we're just kind of going to nitpick here.
That's what we do.
That's what we do here. And especially the 101, I think it's great. We'll get into that, but I'm going to nitpick. One of the things I don't like about Indians just right the way they are is they hide the air cleaner. And I think that they've done that on all these. It looks like it. It looks very much like the air cleaner, unless you did your research, is going to be up under the tank.
I did not do my research, but by looking at it, I can tell you that's where it's at.
Yeah. And they kind of have, with that motor, have done that. It's like, that's one of the, not that it affects a whole bunch, but aesthetically, I like options. And like on my 24, I've got a 90-degree, high flow air intake, racing style. And then you can get the flat ones, and then you can get the ones where you can see through them. And they're just, it's one of the first things that can make your bike different from other people, and you can really dress it up. And so I've never been a fan that they have done that.
And I think there's 2 schools of thought on that, and I think different perspectives too. Some people will look at this bike and go, that's really clean and smooth, and you don't see a lot of stuff. You watch some of the car shows like Contigent Design, and they open up the hood and you don't see shit because they've hidden all the wires and they put all these panels. So it's really clean looking, but you don't get to see the mechanics of it.
Right.
And then there's other folks, and I know you're in this category, you like mechanical things, you like the look of it, you want to be able to see the push rods and not some fake ones on the side of a motor. You want to see the components and everything. So there's, I agree with you. I'm in your camp, but I think there's probably a lot of people that also look at that and just go, wow, that's really, really smooth and clean.
Right. And that's why it's always hard to make a direct comparison between Indians, not like the Thunderstroke, because that's a traditional V-twin look, but like these bikes and the Pursuit they're so just like look different. It's going to be so much of, like you said. So you had something to say, and I kind of.
Well, and before the podcast, we watched the opener video, and they had a couple of designers on there, and they've redesigned all the metal as well. The tank's actually a skosh bigger, but they changed the flow of it. And they were talking about how they were trying to hide all the wiring and all the stuff. And one of the things that they mentioned, if you look at the rear shock on the Scout, that thing it's leaning very far forward. If you're looking at a Dyna, or even like our touring bikes, you just can't see the shocks because they're hidden by bags. They're pretty much straight up and down. On these, they're more than, it's a substantial degree lean forward.
Almost to the rear of the way back on the swing arm.
Yeah. And so that was intentional because they wanted it to look like it was following the frame rail.
Yeah, I see that what they were doing. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot.
It looks like a big curve arc from the shocks all the way up. Yeah. And yeah, so it's definitely aesthetically, that's one of the big decisions between these bikes and say a Harley,
right?
Which we're going to lightly use the Lowrider S. We'll explain in a minute from Harley, but just aesthetics alone is going to be most buyers right away are like, I want to see the components and mechanicals, or I want this new age looking bike where I can't see anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's always hard to do the comparison because these type of Indians are so different. And don't get me wrong, it's a great looking bike. And you brought up, some good points on it, but that's just one of my complaints and they apparently we'll talk about accessories. Go ahead.
And it's got the bobbed little front fender, you got some wide front tire. It's got the bobber look. And I just want to mention that you can get the different trim options like I mentioned. So there's just the basic option, and then you can add the limited or the limited plus tech. So since I have it up here, the Scout bobber is $12,999, and then the limited is $13,699. And then if you go the limited plus tech, you're at $15,199. So that's adding on that tech at different levels.
Okay. Thanks for cleaning that up.
And a lot more color options too as you move up.
Okay, let's model overview. They always do where I can do the 3D spin around. I always have troubles on Indian site figuring out.
I don't know where they put that. It might be under.
No, they do. You got to build and price.
Yeah, you go to build and price
instead of just right underneath
there
where it should be. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you gotta. Yeah, see, then it loads. Get out of there. Get out of there. See what I mean? It takes forever to load. Right? One of the things that I will say, and this goes for the rest of the bikes too, that we're going to be talking about, is this is kind of cool. One of the other things that I'm not a huge fan of, and I've said it in the past a lot, is just throwing big, huge radiators on bikes. And I know a lot of manufacturers, Honda, you look around, Kawasaki, that's just what they do. They just throw a big ass car radiator on the front. And Indian's been guilty of it in the past too. I've noted it. It's not a deal breaker. Again, I'm just being nitpicky here, but I am into aesthetics. And one of the things that Harley's done really well is hid their radiators. I mean, but again, Indian's been making water cooled bikes longer. So, a bit longer, but like my 24 has a radiator, but the thought that went into that, to make it not be super ugly and take up the whole front, in my opinion, it was one of the things I was worried about, and Harley did a phenomenal job. Now, with that said, Indian did do some cool design stuff here. And so when you look at this bike, instead of like their other bikes that they've done, where it's just that huge brick on front, they've actually, in between the two down tubes on the frame, they've actually somewhat made it a little bit flush with it. Still sticks out just a little bit, but they've definitely tried to not make it as ugly as it has been in the past. It's still a very large radiator, pretty much takes up the whole front of the bike. But with that said, I'll give them some cred that's a move in the right direction to streamline these bikes. And I think big improvement in my opinion. When you look at it from the side profile, it just barely protrudes the two down tubes. And so it's just not as much of an eyesore to me. So I think pretty good job. I still would like it hidden more, but I'm going to give credit where it's due.
And since I mentioned some of the trim levels, I had these notes a little bit later in the show, but it kind of makes sense since we're going to refer to them. So the standard line, it was a standard level. So that's kind of your entry level. There are 3 bikes that come with this standard equipment, the Sport Scout Bobber, and Scout Classic. Each of those come with LED, ABS, and analog gauges. And then you can move up from there. You can add the limited trim.
On all the bikes?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
But there's as mentioned before, the sport, not the sport. It was
I know you're.
Yeah, there's two of them that come with it only. The top line only. You can't get less. So on the other three, you can get less, but you can add it on there.
Okay.
So the limited trim package has what's in the other one, but it adds traction control and cruise, a USB charger, and 3 ride modes. So if you move up to the limited, you get the ride modes, which are standard, rain, and sport.
Mm-hmm, yep.
Road, I think is what they call it.
Standard. No, they call it standard. Yep. I was watching the video. Standard, rain, and sport mode. So yeah, good information. So you got some options, which obviously is going to bring prices up.
Yeah, I still got to do the last one. And then they have the limited plus tech. So adds keyless ignition, a 4-inch digital display powered by Ride Command and Ride Command Plus. So there are no mid controls for these bikes per se. I shouldn't say that. They don't come with mid controls, but you can purchase
forward controls.
Yeah, they come with forward controls. All of them off the line. They come with forward controls, but you can get mid controls for them. You can also get floorboards. They've got quite a bit of stuff that you can customize them.
That was an interesting decision, in my humble opinion. It's one of the first things when we sat down before the episode. You kind of schooled me on a few things, and I first looked and I go, a cruiser bike like this, they put forward controls on. That's very not normal. I was like, that's going to piss some people off. I just knew right away that type of bike usually comes with mid controls, and then you decide if you're a tall rider whether you put forward controls. Because of just the way these bikes are ridden, they're not long distance bikes by any stretch of the imagination. They're cruisers. They're for short day rides, for carving canyons. And mid controls are just better for that. And a lot of guys might use them like the low riders, for stunts and wheelies, and just forward controls are not really for that. So interesting decision there. They
changed out the rear sub panel. It's the same on all the lineup, all the bikes. So the seats and all that kind of stuff, it's interchangeable between the whole line.
Oh yeah. They said, okay. So yeah, cleaning that up a little bit. Yeah. So basically the whole rear of the bike, I'm assuming luggage racks and backrests and all that, you can share across the whole line. So there's not going to be a bunch of parts catalog things that you're going to have to sift through. It's all in one. Yeah. A la carte.
A la carte, if you will. And then they are claiming the lowest seat height in the industry. And from what we saw on their announcement, that makes it ride like a dirt bike.
Is that what they said?
Well, that one gal that reviewed it, remember, she's like, rides like a dirt bike.
Oh, yeah. She didn't say because of the lower seat, but yes, we were just making fun. But no, it was one of my points when they said it on the video. Lurch, I looked at Lurch and I go, they're really proud that they have the lowest seat height in the industry, but they didn't say why that's cool for a cruiser street bike. The only thing that could be cooler is and I don't know how much lower, is it inches? Okay, the shortest of shortest riders, that may have some benefit, but it was weird how they kind of promoted that. And I'm like, okay, but you didn't say why that's so cool to you. So anyways, if you care, they have the lowest seat. Okay.
Yeah. And I know we got into,
not that those bikes are tall in the first place.
No, they're not. And I know we started getting into the bikes, but then I realized there's a lot that's shared between them all. So that's why I bumped this up so we can talk about it. And then we'll get back into the bikes and just getting into a little bit more into the engine. So it's a 1250 cc or 76 cubic inches, or we told you the horsepower, the torque, maximum engine speed, 8,500 RPM. Like you said, it's a rever. It's a 60-degree V-twin, liquid cooled. It's dual overhead cams, 4 valves per cylinder. It's tranny is a 6-speed with a true overdrive and constant mesh. And then either you like this or you don't. It's got a hydraulic slipper clutch. And so when we reviewed the Pursuit, that's one of the things that we had noted, and you didn't. And I'm glad you didn't tell me, so I could experience myself. But I about shit my pants because I got right off my bike and we were on some twisty roads there in Idaho. I was coming downhill into a right-hand curve, and I downshifted the bike and let out the clutch and expected some engine braking. I had none. So then I had to get on the brakes. It's got a slipper clutch, which will help you from spinning the rear tire or downshifting too quick. I don't know. I'm not a fan. Some people like it. I don't. Yeah, I want when I downshift, I know what I'm doing, and I want that engine braking. Right. And if it's not there, that first time is a, oh shit kind of feeling.
Most skilled and aggressive riders will tell you that they don't want slipper clutches, just like we don't want recluse clutches. We want a clutch that works like a clutch is supposed to work. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Especially when I'm riding the police bike or aggressively, I will downshift depending on what I'm doing. I want to immediately decelerate, and I also want the back tire to slide just a little bit. There's reasons for that, but I kind of know right where I'm at with that too. And I'll get a little bark out of the rear tire. We just want full control of that bike, and slipper clutches, not a fan. I hope Harley never put slipper clutches in their bikes. A better way, if truly you're worried about, shifting down aggressively, it's only going to lock the tire up for just a second. I mean, it's not anything. Once you feel it, you'll realize you're not going to go down. But the better way to handle that, in my opinion, is through just drag slip torque control, like Harley does. Just if it starts sliding too much, it's going to take over and realize that something went a little bit wrong. But it's still, and the different modes, which I like in the Harley is, so when I have my custom mode in my 24, when I have everything maxed, it rides like a raped ape do, but it's very, it's hard to even keep the throttle.
It's twitchy.
You got to just be on it. But it allows me to slide the rear a lot more when I'm downshifting than if I go into like a rain mode or road mode. So anyways, and not a deal breaker. I rode the Indian yesterday. It's been a while. I rode it down to the store, a law-abiding biker store. We actually, if you're in the area and stop by the store, it's parked in the showroom where all the merchandise is, just because we're tired of having it in the shop right now. Not that it's a bad bike, but we're done with it. We've reviewed it, and we're putting it down there for now. But it's cool if you guys want to see it in person, and we've had it for a year, and it's down there. But it's one of the things I wrote down, and I kind of forgotten a little bit, and I was like, I was aggressively riding and down. I was like, slipper clutch, that's right. So anyways, I'm sure there's varying opinions on that. I respect your opinion, but I've talked to a lot of riders, and anybody who rides, like I say, rather aggressively and wants full control of their bike is not going to want a slipper clutch. Well, I'm not a fan of recluse clutches either. So personally, but I know they benefit a lot of people. So don't get me wrong. There are riders that have problems with the clutch, and so I'm not saying I'm just saying
for you,
not for me. The slipper clutches have their place, and certainly recluse clutches for some riders. It can help you ride basically, especially if you have disabilities or things like that. So, all right.
Okay. So now that we kind of went backwards a little bit and talked about all the stuff that's similar on, we can continue working our way through the different bikes here. So next in the lineup is the Scout Classic.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've got it queued up here. But first, I think you just need to do this.
Oh, okay. Absolutely. Ride longer and treat your ass with some respect already.
You slut.
Get hooked up with a premium butt buffer seat cushion. This company of bikers developed a super thin hospital grade seat cushion made of solid and elastic materials, and its unlocked gel pads that will leak if punctured.
You're a slut.
The butt buffer is designed not to slide around your seat, fits all motorcycles, installs in seconds, easily cleans, and helps dampen those damn vibrations.
Oh, I like those vibrations.
With plenty of models to choose from, you'll have a comfortable ass when riding. Head on over to Law Abiding Biker Store and check out our full line of butt buffer seat cushions.
Vibrate me. He smiled at the end at least.
I have a bunch of...
You did good though. You did real good.
Got a bunch of butt buffers in the truck outside.
I'm proud of you.
Just got delivered. We'll be taking them down the store tomorrow.
That's right. Get them down there, you slut. All right. So moving on, I just like calling you a slut. It's funny. All right. So what are we moving on to? The Scout Classic?
The Classic.
We're going to, now that we've talked about a lot of stuff, we can kind of cruise through these. So, all right. Tell me a little bit about this. So I'm looking at it. I'm spinning it around, and definitely your chromed out version. If you're a chrome guy, thank God for all you chrome people. Black is so there's too many black bikes out there now. You gotta get the chrome. Interestingly, look at this lurch. Black. This is weird. So the left side this is the first time I've looked at this bike, guys, in detail. The whole left side, black. Chrome on the right side. Look at that. And then you turn the bike around to the left side, black. The only thing chrome on it on the left side is the very top of the heads. Isn't that kind of weird? Like I would have thought they would have made this this chain guard chrome at least, and put some more chrome, like the the belt guard, look at all, they could have chromed this out. It's just kind of like, it looks really chromy from the right side. And then you're like, no, not a lot of chrome. So I don't know.
Well, as the name
Not
suggests, it is the most classic, meaning it looks like the Scout of days gone by, and only because if you look at I shouldn't say only, mainly because if you look at the fenders, the shape of the fenders, those are what you're used to seeing on the older
little flare on the back of the front fender.
And in the front and back, the way they're shaped, it gives you that traditional look. They've got laced wheels, with spokes, and all chromed out. It gives the best nod to those bikes of old, if you will. It is also available in different trim models, so you can get the Scout Classic, which has $13,999. The Scout Classic Limited, which adds a little bit and one more extra color, is $15,199. And then you go the Classic Limited with Tech, and that's got all the good stuff, $15,699, and you've got up to 4 different colorways on that one.
Yep. So decent looking bike, but definitely my nitpick would be, if you're going to make this a chrome bike, make it chrome. I just think that aesthetically they could have added, if you're going to make it chrome, like they could have chromed out the chain guard on the right side, the belt guard or the belt guard up front. Definitely could have did some more chrome here on the left side. But basically what makes it chrome is the wheels, the handlebars, and the exhaust is chrome. But I am a chrome guy, so take that with a grain of salt. But I could have made the shocks chrome. That would have looked cool too. That would have popped right there. So yeah, but it does have some chrome. It's the most chrome, I think, that they have for their bike. Other than that, laced wheels, looks pretty cool. Moving on to the Sport Scout, right?
Yeah, this is what they call a club styled bike. So as I mentioned before, it's that Son of Anarchy look, where you've got the little small fairing around the headlight. You've got some bars with higher risers on them, kind of a T-bar, if you will.
Wasn't there bars you could choose from in that video?
There are. So you can also get a 3.5-inch rise, or you can get a 10-inch rise. And they're risers that you put on. And
I gave all my girlfriends the 10-inch rise.
Yeah.
Just telling you.
Took you 5 times.
Even if they asked for the 3, I gave them the 10-inch.
5 times you got there. Those good risers have a space for the either, depending on what your bike you're on, either the digital or the analog or the digital gauge too. Pretty neat.
Yep. Just and that analog gauge, if we haven't talked about, it's just like a 4-inch gauge.
Yeah, 4-inch analog, and then you can get the 4-inch digital too. But the risers include that, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, that is good looking bike. I like the looks of this bike because it has it's very much more looking like a Lowrider S from Harley's line.
Yeah, I would say this one's probably the most
little fairing,
common
SOA fairing,
similar,
reflector. Again, not a fan, but as far as all blacked out, I'm a chrome guy. I wish they made chrome versions of these, but this one is very blacked out. So yeah, other than that, definitely catches the eye as I'm spinning it around here. I have the Dyna Lowrider S sitting in the shop, and I've got the T-bars on it. And it looks very much the same, aside from that the motor's totally different. Water cooled. It's not, the traditional Harley V-twin look. But yeah, 2-into-1. All these bikes 2-into-1 out the right side is how they're running. Big fat exhaust out the right side. So yeah, good looking bike. All right, moving on.
And you got a little narrower front tire. You got cast wheels.
Yep, cast wheels. Yep, true.
Trim is black on all of them. The Sport Scout is $13,499. The Sport Scout Limited's $14,699, and then if you go all the way up to the Limited plus Tech, then you're up to $15,699. And then similar to the other bikes, as you go up in trim lines, there's more colors available, but no chrome, all black.
Okay. All right, very good. Moving on to the Super Scout, right?
Super Scout Plus.
Super Scout Plus. Yeah, right. Yeah, you just had to add that, I see. Does this one come, so this is their one you were saying they're calling their touring because it's got bags.
Light touring.
Does it come with a bigger fuel tank? Because
no.
Yeah. So
that's why it's light.
Yeah, it was really light. 3.3 gallons for any sort of 3.4 is not a huge tank for any sort of
It's meant for light touring.
mileage. Okay.
Now this bike and then the 101 are the ones that only come in the plus tech, the limited plus tech. So
It's got everything. This is the full meal
no
deal.
options to get less. It comes with everything, but it does come in 3 colorways. There's a black metallic. There's a black smoke with graphics, kind of like pinstripe graphics. That's pretty cool. And then it's got a red maroon with graphics.
Okay.
Laced wheels on this one as well.
Fat front tire.
Big fat front tire. You got a little bit different handlebars. They kind of sweep back. You've got a windshield and you got some bags. Look at the exhaust on this one. You know, the other ones are all black or all chrome. This is a combination. So you got chrome header and then kind of a black exhaust with a chrome tip. That looks kind of nice too.
It does. It's got, well, like the other one with chrome, but this doesn't have chrome wheels, but it's got laced wheels.
Yeah.
Spoke wheels. Yeah.
It's kind of like a Heritage maybe or something.
Yeah.
You know?
It's interesting for a light touring. They would have put the bobbed fender on it.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's truly a touring, you want a little bit more of a wraparound fender, but it's got the total bobbed fender. And then, okay, that's the tail lights. Yeah. I don't know. Big old, are those leather, looks like pleather or leather saddlebags of some sort? They're not hard bags.
That I don't know. They may be hard, but
they don't look hard.
Well, some of the rigid, I mean, you know.
If you had a nickel for every time you heard that.
Yeah, some of those leather bags are still a rigid bag, you know.
Yeah, right.
They've got...
but it's not plastic. It doesn't look like
not on the outside anyway.
It doesn't look like a Harley or Indian full touring fiberglass or plastic bag, right?
Like an ABS molded. No, it's not a molded bag. It's definitely...
That's what I was looking for.
It's a leather or a pleather, but it may have
it may be rigid inside, like have a hard shell.
Yeah, exactly.
But different looking saddlebags than you're used to on your full touring.
But I agree with you. It's kind of strange that it has not only the bobbed front fender, but the bobbed rear fender.
For a light touring.
Yeah, you think they would take the fenders that were on the Scout Classic and put it on here, but...
Correct. It is an interesting design choice.
Yep.
Windshield, of course, and bags.
Kind of like you're seeing like
light
on a
touring.
Road King or something like that.
Yeah. All right. Anything else on that? Okay. Let's move on to the big boy, which is the one that I want to talk about because I like going for the full model, so to speak, with all the bells and whistles and, you know, the champion of the line, if you will. Let's do this real quick.
Hey, bikeaholics, searching for new and exciting motorcycle products? 03D has the products you dream about for your bike. Check out their wide variety of innovative products for Harley Davidson and Honda Goldwing motorcycles. 03D's got your back with chrome and black parts, lighting, and other comfort products. No modifying, cutting, grinding, or welding for an easy installation. That equals less time installing and more time riding. 03D has a design team of riders with over 40 years experience with a passion for design and innovation. Zero and Gold Strike are the motorcycle LED lighting innovators for CAN bus plug-and-play system compatibility. They pride themselves on great customer service. Got a question? Get in touch with them via email at sales@3d.com or give them a call at 715-808-0027. Check out your local Harley and Honda dealership and ask for Zero or Gold Strike parts. A new leader has emerged, so check out 03D's custom line of Gold Strike products for the all-new Honda Goldwings. Better yet, help support us and head on over to the Law Abiding Biker store and check out our full line of 03D products.
Good job, you slut. Trying to find ways to call you a slut.
Yeah.
All right. So
in their announcement, they said this was a return of the 101 Scout, and I was not aware of that. And I imagine there's plenty of people in the audience that aren't aware. So a little background information. The Indian Scout is a motorcycle built. This is Wikipedia, by the way. The Indian Scout is a motorcycle built by the Indian Motorcycle Company from 1920 to 1949. It rivaled the Chief as Indian's most important model. The 101 Scout was made from 1928 to 1931 and has been called the best motorcycle Indian ever made. A second line of Scouts with heavier frames was introduced in 1932 along the Standard Scout, which replaced the 101 Scout and shared its frame with the Chief and the 4. The small displacement Scout and the Sport Scout, introduced in 1934, were continued until the end of the civilian production in 1942. Military versions of both models were used by U.S. and other Allied forces during World War II. So this is a nod to the past, and they're bringing it back. In fact, if you watch their launch video, they show an old one and the new one riding next to each other. And interestingly enough, in the video, it seemed like the old one was keeping up with the new one.
Yeah, no doubt.
That was interesting.
Yeah, how
I'm
does that work?
Not sure that's what you really intended.
Right. So let's say this. So part of my story of taking the Indian Pursuit, which we've had for a year, down to the store and parking it there, we're done. We reviewed it. And make sure you check out that video on YouTube. If you haven't seen my review of that, it got a lot of views. So this is the bike that I want. I want a 101 Scout, and we are trying to work with the third-party marketing company that deals with Indian. Obviously, Harley's in-house marketing. When we're dealing with Indian, we're working through a third-party marketing company. We've told you guys that before. It's not quite as refined, although they're really super good people. With that said, that's what I've requested is, hey, come pick up the Pursuit where its lifespan is over for our reviews and trade it for a 101 Scout. I really, really want to get my hands on this bike. I want to do a true law-abiding biker style review of this thing, put it through the paces, see what it's all about. Up front, badass looking bike. This is the one that I would pick. And this is the white one, metallic something white. I'm out of that screen now where it lists the color. So I don't know if you have it there, Lurch.
I will shortly.
Because there's two colors, but by far this bike is sick looking.
There's a sunset red metallic with graphics,
which looks great.
And then there's a ghost white metallic with graphics.
And that's sick. I think this one looks just...
The white looks really good, in particular because it's got, I don't know if you want to call that gold or...
Oh, yeah.
I guess I would call it gold. It's got inverted forks, and it's also got rear suspension with piggyback reservoirs on it. Yeah. And those are a gold color.
Gold.
So the gold looks good with the red, no doubt. Kind of blends in a little bit, but it pops on that white bike. The white bike and those...
it pops, man.
Gold forks are pretty
well done on the paint and scheme and design of this bike. Sons of Anarchy fairing with windscreen. Looks like we got some not T-bars, but kind of T-bars that rise a little bit. So not flat bars, not flat T-bars, but
MX style.
MX. There you go. Yeah. MX style bars. Yeah. Good call. Overall, this bike is amazing, and I just want the performance work. I don't know. Did the others have Brembos too?
Nope.
Okay, so this is Brembo brakes,
larger calipers, dual.
Yeah, read me some of this.
Yeah, so it's got dual calipers up front, where the other ones have single.
Okay, yep. True.
And they're
much
large,
more stopping
and
power.
You can see that they're much bigger. And then you get the Brembo, and you got larger brake in the rear with the Brembo. So
single disc rear, pretty standard.
Yeah, double disc front. You got the inverted front forks.
That's big for a bike this size.
Yeah.
When you're talking about, if you guys didn't know, that's not just obviously for looks. When you're pushing corners hard, especially if you're going in and you're doing some trail braking or whatever, when that front end and the inverted forks that this has, along with Brembo brakes, dual disc up front, is going to give so much fine control and feel of the front end of that bike, which I really, really like, because I don't use much rear unless I'm doing really low speed cone work. Then you're using rear, but mostly front. And to have that type of control on a bike this size and this light, I can only imagine is really, really feels good. I want to get this thing on the road.
Yeah, one of the reviews I read about it, a gentleman was on the other bikes the first day, and then he was able to get on this 101 Scout the second day, and said while the increase in horsepower, the 6 horsepower, it's not really noticeable. The improvement in handling because of the suspension and the brakes was massive, because you could go into corners a lot harder, load up the suspension and push it through the corners.
Exactly.
So there is some, obviously it's 6 more horsepower. There's something there. Although that can be hard to really feel from one bike to the next. You can definitely feel the suspension and the brakes.
Nice. And so bobbed rear fender, you guys got to look at this bike. This is well done. Of course, I haven't ridden it. I want to ride this thing.
This is your first
forward
impressions.
Controls, which is again back to that. Probably should have came with mid controls and then put on forward controls. If you're
$350, you could.
Right. True. True. Just seems like more guys with a bike like this would want mid, and then the tall guys can move them forward if they want. But again, we won't.
Well, you shorties can adjust for once.
Yeah, no doubt. We're going to have to, apparently. It's just with an aggressive bike like this. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to take it as a race bike, go look at like King of the Baggers and race bikes. They don't have forward controls for a reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because you want to get into that racing position.
Correct. Correct. Cornering position. And
hips forward, shoulders forward.
Yeah, exactly. Own the bike. Anyways, aside from that, the shocks at that angle again. I was going to say something else, but so with this said, guys, as we wind this down, we want to make, this is probably the bike right here. The only reason we're not comparing it, we already said comparing Harley directly to this or vice versa is futile for the most part. But we got to do it for reference, because here's the deal. We already said it earlier. You're standing there, you've got $15,000 to $20,000 cash in your wallet. You want this style bike. You want the West Coast, MX bar, T-bar look, Sons of Anarchy fairing, wheelie stunt bike. You see them. You got two choices. Two of the top choices is you're going to either buy this Indian 101 Scout, or you're next to it. You're going to walk across the street to the Harley shop and you're going to key in on the Lowrider S. So the Harley Lowrider S, Softail Lowrider S now. So those are the closest comparison we can get if you want this style of bike. Although, as we break this down just a little bit, they're very different too. So number one, aesthetics. Again, that right there, a lot of people don't care about performance as much as they do about aesthetics, because they're like, it's still fast enough. It's close enough. I don't want to see the V-twin and the fins motor. I want a very subdued, modern looking with things hidden bike. That you're going to go to Indian. I want a more mechanical. I want that Harley rumble of the way they do their V-twin. Obviously, this is a liquid cooled Revy motor. It's completely different than like the Milwaukee 8. It's a completely different feel. It's much more metric feeling, a bike like this. And Harley does it too. They make the Pan America, the Rev Max motor, they put it in the Nightster. Those are very Revy, more metric type water cooled motors. So again, we're lightly comparing these, so don't get mad at us.
And depending on which Indian you're looking at, you're somewhere in between the Softail Standard, the Street Bob, or the Lowrider S. But specifically, this 101 Scout, we feel kind of looks and compares mostly to a Lowrider S.
Yep. So why don't you break down a little bit, since you've got them in front of you there? I don't have it up right here. Just break down some of the minor comparisons.
You do have a real similar look with the small fairing, the bars, the bobbed fender, albeit the Scout's bobbed a little bit more. But when you look at them, they have a real similar look. Price-wise, the Indian's coming in at $17,000, where the Lowrider S is coming in at $20,000. The Lowrider has the V-twin Milwaukee 8. It's a much larger motor. It's 1917 cc's as compared to, what was the other one?
It's a 1250, right?
1250, yeah, 1250. So smaller. It's got a bigger motor. It actually has a little less horsepower, at 103 horsepower, the Harley does.
Yes.
But a shit ton more torque. It's got 125 foot-pounds of torque versus 82.
Mm-hmm.
So different type of acceleration, if you will.
Yeah.
It's a little, the Harley's a little heavier. It's 679 pounds, but that's wet weight. And if you consider the larger tank on the Harley, you got about 20 pounds of fuel there. So
which the larger tank, you're talking about a 5-gallon tank on the Harley and a 3.4 on this, which, depending on mileage, obviously, but it's going to get you farther. So light touring at a 3.4 is probably not the best, but you're giving and taking here a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. As far as, tech and all that, ABS, LED lights, and all that kind of stuff. Similar, the Harley Lowrider S doesn't have ride modes that
I do not believe so.
It does have traction control and ABS and all that kind of stuff. It does have inverted forks. Yeah. It's got a single rear.
It's got a TFT
suspension.
digital display, same.
Yeah.
Yep.
So similar, but not exactly the same. It's not that they're apples and oranges. They're just two different kind of apples, I think.
Yeah, right.
It comes down to, I think, probably going to be aesthetics for most people. Which one you like better? Which one you think looks better? What just fits you better?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good options. I honestly like that Indian. I
think it's badass.
I really hope that other than the slipper clutch, I look forward to hopefully getting our hands on that and seeing what it's all about.
Yep, me too. And we are working on that for you guys. And it's just, we'll just keep our fingers crossed that we can get that guy. And me and Lurch will have to take another couple days and ride like we did the Pursuit. Well, it was a touring bike, so we really needed a tour on it.
Right.
But this one we can probably do a little more local day rides, or maybe we'll just make a trip out of it. Tell the wife, sorry, we just really have to take this thing for a distance to review this thing properly.
It for a long weekend, sorry.
Can pretty much say whatever we want. But yeah, well done. Indians, great bikes, guys. I think the lineup is great. Probably this one caught my eyes the most when I was going through them for a reason, because it's the big top of the pile, so to speak, and they did a really good job with it. I do want to mention, I'm not sure if Lurch brought it up, I was watching the video. They have, for this line of bikes, we already said that the rear accessories will fit the whole line, but they said 100 new OEM accessories out of the gate for these bikes, not just rear accessories, but other accessories. So they're clearly, they mentioned it several times. These things are ready to customize. Well, I don't know how much, I guess you customize them with OEM parts, but that's always been one of the things we've said in the past as we wrap this up with Indian is, there's just not as many of them on the road. Doesn't mean they're bad, but you do not have access. I mean, we run a store and we're a drag specialties dealer and Parts Unlimited, and you look in the catalogs, it's very thin pickings for aftermarket Indian stuff, where Harley, that's what the catalogs are built on, is Harley stuff. So it's just something that you take into effect. But, if you want a turnkey bike and you're like, I don't want to do anything, then that's a badass bike. And if you want to do some light customizing, they've got a lot of OEM parts for you on this bike. Any final thoughts, Lurch?
I'm really looking forward to getting our hands on one and playing with it.
Yep.
I think you said, well done.
You're a slut. You're looking forward to getting your hands on and playing with it. You're a slut.
I am a Harley guy and a Harley fan ultimately. But I got to give Indian credit here. The Scout lineup. It's good looking. It's not too much of a departure from what the Scouts looked like and what they are. I was kind of disappointed with Harley getting rid of, not that I could ride a Sportster, it was too small for me, but getting rid of the classic style Sportsters and going with all the modern looking stuff, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a purist, and I'm not in charge of the company for a reason. I'm sure it makes sense to make more modern stuff, but I feel like Harley in their smaller bikes have kind of gone away from tradition, whereas Indian with this line is keeping a little closer to tradition with them.
Yep.
So anyways, I well done. I look forward to actually seeing one.
Absolutely. I think you'd be happy with that bike. Just, like we always say, shop around. Like I said, you're standing there, you got 15 to 20,000, make sure you're I'd ride both of them, figure out, aesthetically what you like best, how it feels, power, how the power band feels, how it runs. Just like anything, it's a lot of cash, and you want to make sure you're getting the right bike for you. Now, we would love for you to become a patron member, but we never balk at a flat donation. We want to thank the following people for some of the flat donations they left. The reason why we become a member is we can get you benefits, get to know you better, all that. But hey, these folks, thank you, Richard Craparata of Wiki Wenatchee.
I think that's supposed to say Florida.
Florida.
Wiki Wacky, Florida.
I've never heard of Wiki Wacky. Wow, dude, that's badass. I want to live in Wiki Wacky.
I gotta see if that's even a place. The hell?
You would like to live in Wiki Wacky, you slut. All right.
It's a thing. Yeah.
It is, okay.
Yeah. WEEKI WACHE.
That's
Wiki Wacky.
badass, dude.
Wiki Wachi.
Somebody was smoking weed when they came up with that city name, dude.
That's got to be a Seminole, maybe an Indian name.
Yeah, maybe.
Kind of like we have some of that stuff.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah, true. When you contact us and ask a question, you can leave a donation, and that's what he did. Baron Latham of Fallbrook, California, substantial donation. Bam. Thank you, Baron. Mark Miller of Holt, Missouri. Thank you very much. lawabidingbiker.com/donate is how they left a flat donation. It helps put a little fuel in the Law-Abiding Biker gas tank.
So we can keep this thing running on down the road.
Helps put 3.4 gallons in our Indian 101 Scout.
3.5, man.
3.5, sorry. It's huge. Anyways.
I think that's that 0.1. They made it a little bit bigger when they redesigned it.
Yep. All right, guys. We appreciate being here and listening. And, just make sure, we appreciate all your support through patron memberships and donations. And, patrons our foundation. But, hey, one of the biggest ways you guys support us is through shopping through the Law-Abiding Biker store. We are continuing to grow it. We're adding products in there faster than we can announce. We want to add more. Oscar's spent a lot of time there. Of course, Lurch is running it right now. It's busy. And just remember this. We are drag specialties dealer. We are a Western Power Sports dealer, turn 14. And then we've got direct contacts with a bunch of other companies. We can pretty much get you anything that the big boys in the industry can do, all the online stores. We are just a bootstrap company of bikers trying to help as many bikers as we can worldwide. So coming to us and shopping with us means a lot to us. It is bikers behind the scene. We are living, eating, and breathing the industry and the sport. We can certainly help you. We have a lot of experience with a lot of the parts we sell, and you'll be supporting us. So with that said, if it's not listed in our store and you find it online, hit us up over at the store contact form. That's lawabidingbiker.com/store, and just say, hey, I'm looking for this part number or this part, and can you get it for me? And we'll certainly get it for you, and if we can, and get it to you as fast as everybody else at the same price. In fact, cheaper, because if you're not a Washington State resident, you don't pay taxes. So take advantage of that savings. We appreciate you being here. Peace.